Second video today. So this is David in Moniton. I've been an environmentalist my whole life, previous lives. I know of at least 5 previous lives. I used to dream about castles, and then Harry Potter came along and I knew all the hiding places. I'd hidden in all of them. I can tell you lots of stories about that. Let me know. The link down below. I'm not going to ask you to subscribe or like this video. It's entirely up to you. If you feel like doing that, that's fine. If you want to come back whenever, that's fine. If you want to be connected, that's fine. You want to make comments, that's fine. You want to ask me to make videos on something, that's fine. Just do whatever's in your heart. What's in my heart today is this COVID thing, which is obviously a plague. In 2009, I suggested on one of my blogs that people work from home. The people that should work from home are office building workers who can work from a home office. So we still have offices. I go to my office every day. I walk out of my bedroom, I turn left, and I'm in my office. It's a very short commute. I've been doing it for 20 years, working from home, since ADSL arrived in South Africa, and today we have fiber. And we had video conferencing back then running on ISDN, and now we have video conferencing today running on fiber. We don't have telecom, or we don't have TV, we don't have DSTV, satellite, we don't have Netflix. There's just so much going on, so much to learn. We just don't have time for that. So in 2009, I wrote on one of my blogs, people should work from, obviously if you're a plumber or electrician or a builder or a factory manager, you can't work from home. But if you're a call center person, you can work from home. If you're an accountant or a lawyer. One of my lawyers said to me last year, middle of last year, said, I never thought we could work from home. And it's so wonderful. We are saving so much money on that fancy office complex we had. And guess what? We work in Stellenbosch, which is a wine area. And if we need a conference venue or we need a boardroom, we just go to one of the wine farms. Of course, there's this issue about you can't drink wine, blah, blah, blah. That's because of irresponsible people who get drunk and then have accidents and then go to hospital and, clog up the hospital system because of an accident they had because of inebriated, drunk. And the beaches are closed because people drown and do stupid things on beaches. We want to keep the hospitals empty. We've got COVID, so people arrive home early. They don't drive at 2 o'clock in the morning and have crashes. And, so all the stuff is closed because of a small percentage of people who are irresponsible to themselves and to their friends and to society as a whole. And because of those 25 people, 55 million people are locked down. Can't go to the beach. I ask you. Where there's social distancing, where there's oxygen. Most of our oxygen on Earth comes from the sea. Yeah, obviously a lot comes from forests. We're chopping down forests as fast as we can, and we are polluting the sea. And we're slowly running out of oxygen. And maybe that's part of the problem. Maybe that's why people are sicker, because there's less oxygen in their body. Oxygen is an antioxidant. Oxygen is an antioxidant. It's good for getting rid of cancers and other pollution in our bodies and our minds. So I spoke at conferences about renewable energy and about energy, and I wrote to newspapers, and I spoke many times about what we're doing to the planet. And then Greta the Great, isn't it amazing that Greta is an anagram of great, comes and she says all the things she says. And then after years of her doing this, she starts getting to places like the United Nations and the World Economic Forum, and then people say, oh no, she's doing conspiracy theories. Really? Come on, guys. It's a teenager. Leave her alone. Al Gore makes a movie and gets told, no, you can't be the vice president anymore because we got oil. If you watch that Herman Scheer video, you'll see about what's the worst and best thing that can happen in the planet. Well, we ran out of oil. and we run out of oil. So we're not going to run out of oil. We still need oil for plastic, this stuff. And pharmaceuticals, capsules use oil, and oil is used for lubrication, and we use oil on our bodies, lavender or other kinds of oil. Here's my doggy again. Say hello, boy. So his name is Ginger. You can see why. He's a beautiful dog. He loves me. I love him. It doesn't matter, the nice thing about a dog is always a dog. The dog doesn't want to be a cat. I must tell you, this dog can catch birds and catch cats and so on. But he still loves me, and I love him. Having a dog, an animal, this kind of thing is just such a permanent, fantastic relationship. So after thousands of people for hundreds of years said, let's all work from home. Let's all not sit in traffic. Let's get out of our conference centers and out of our office buildings. Remember office building pollution in the 1980s and 90s? Sick building syndrome. Remember all that stuff? Sad and mad and whatever. Sad buildings caused by air conditioning problems. You're sitting in a building with 10,000 people, for example. You're breathing all those people's air. You're a filter for all of that stuff. You go in a traffic jam, you're breathing so much pollution. And I don't smoke, but my grandparents, my great-grandparents smoked 60 cigarettes a day their whole life and died in their mid-90s. Maybe it's because they grew up, on a farm in Russia. I don't know. They didn't sit in that much traffic as the rest of us. No one's done any research about the links between carbon monoxide and another 100 poisons that you get when you sit in a traffic jam, or in an underground train, or in an overground train, or in a plane. No one's done that kind of research that links that to cancer. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it's only cigarettes, but hey, we just don't know. We don't do enough research. We only do the research that proves that you need to do something. And we get told that people in North India and so on wear their masks for 20 years. They can't even see the sky. One guy says, wow, after the lockdown happened and suddenly you could see, I can see God. I can see the sky for the first time in donkey's years. Hey boy, what do you think? The animals are happy since lockdown. So hundreds and thousands of people said, let's clean up the planet. And God looks at this and says, I can't wait anymore. And he sends plague, number 1. And within a month, like 90% of office building workers are working from home. It's just the most incredible miracle. Could have listened to me. Wouldn't have had to have lockdown like this. Our standards have been dropping. Our milk standards are worse now than they were 20 years ago. Our water standards are worse. We have less water in the system. We live in a city. We need water. We're rationed. I think it's 150 liters a day per person. A well-run city uses 400 liters per person. And maybe you say, well, gee, that's terrible. We need to run our sewage system, which is a waterborne sewage system. If we don't have enough water to run it, we're asking for illness. God sends COVID. Let's go back to a bit of Hebrew. I want to do a bit of Hebrew in all of my talks. So, a plague is a Nega, N-E-G-A in Hebrew letters. And if you change the letters around, it's called an anagram, you get another word, Oneg. And Nega means plague, and Oneg means delight. And we need to find the delight in the plague. Now, trillions of animals have found the delight in the current human plague. Humans have also found delight. They get to work on time. They don't have to sit in traffic jams. They can meet anybody in their company all over the world without leaving their desk. They can share screens. They don't get tired sitting in a conference venue for hours on end because they feel like they think they're getting tired, but actually it's because of carbon dioxide poisoning, because the carbon dioxide in the room is going up. I know because I've got a carbon dioxide meter and I took it to some of my meetings and I showed people what's going on. I said, this is why you're tired, because we haven't got fresh air coming in from outside into this building. We're breathing recycled air, wondering why we're getting tired and sick. So we have a plague. And there was a pharaoh in Egypt who got plagues. There was a guy called Moses, and he said to Pharaoh, "Let my people go." And Pharaoh didn't let them go, and then another plague, a wave, another plague, another wave, another plague, another wave, until half the world's population died. And then the Pharaoh said, "Go." And after the slaves left, the Pharaoh decided to chase them down, and his army died in old ideas. The story is a story. There's a scientific basis for it. The astrologers and the stargazers and the scientists of old knew when the lowest tide in 400 years would be in the Reed Sea, so they could cross. And if you've been to Mont Saint-Michel in northern France, you know how fast that tide comes in. And the reason it was built there is because most people who came to fight against that castle on that little island didn't know about that. My dog just went to investigate what's going on. And so the armies invaded, and the people just had a cup of tea because they knew when the tide comes in, they're going to get wiped out. It's one of the fastest running tides in the world. Look it up, Mont Saint-Michel, northern France. I've been there. I've seen that tide. It's just, you cannot believe. God sends this plague, and we need to learn the delight, the message of it. Not just the coyotes on the bridges in America and the animals that have come out, the penguins walking on the streets in Simonstown. And people were told that the canals of Venice would never be clean again, and 6 weeks after lockdown they were clean. The world is cleaning itself up while humans stay at home. And if humans are thinking carefully, they're also being cleaned up. There's so many poisons, there's so much corruption. And here we have an opportunity to go to a new world. And people want to take an injection and go back to the old world, go back to an office. You already have the second plague and the third plague, known as a wave in today's parlance. We only have to make a decision that all office workers are going to work from home. Conference centers are going to close. Office buildings in the center of town, like Cape Town, are going to get converted into buildings for the poor that live near the coast, in shanty towns, the warm current coast in Cape Town, who want to move to the city. They can move to the city, whilst the city dwellers who want to live in large plots and estates next to a warm sea will move there, and everybody will be happy. I know it seems impossible, and I know that I'm the only person in the world who's saying this. I haven't seen one other person who said this so far. We need to get out of cruise ships and out of theme parks and out of stadiums. I'm not saying we need to stop playing soccer or enjoying ourselves, but we have virtual reality now. We can get on a ship with a thing on our head and we can pretend like we're there. We don't have to be with 1 million people at a time, or 60,000 people in a stadium breathing all that stale air. And of course that means that those players can play anywhere. Wherever there's a field, they can play. And anybody in the whole world can watch them and still buy tickets. I've attended a conference in Washington. My wife and I attended it together. We didn't leave our house in Cape Town. It cost us $70 for both of us to attend. If we'd gone, it would have cost somewhere around $2,000 for us both to go. We've never been to that conference. We couldn't afford it. Now we felt like we were there, and if we needed to go to the toilet or grab a cup of coffee, we didn't have to stand in a queue. We didn't have to pack. We didn't have to spend hours in airports. We didn't have to waste any time. The conference started on Friday, ended on Monday. We were at the conference. There was a particular thing we didn't want to go to. We could go for a walk or have a break or whatever. Catch up. It's amazing. I've been attending online synagogue and church and Muslim services and Tibetan services and been online with the Dalai Lama and so many other brilliant people. And one day there was this rabbi in a town near Jerusalem, and he said, if you're facing my camera, you're facing Jerusalem. And I thought, wow, it doesn't matter which direction you're facing. If you're facing your computer, you're facing Jerusalem. It was such a mind-blowing, wonderful thing. So here we are, we're not in cruise ships. The cruise ships can be repurposed so that in summer the cruise ships arrive in Cape Town and people can get on those ships. Obviously not 3,000 people, 1,000 people at a time, and go and enjoy that floating hotel, which can moor here for a month and then go somewhere else. So the ships don't have to be wasted. It doesn't have to travel in the oceans and kill marine life and have so much pollution of running those big diesels with heavy oil and other stuff. I want everybody to get back to normal from the point of view of the normalcy of hugging each other and kissing each other. Boys finding girls, girls finding boys, or if you're into boys and girls and girls, or whatever it is, great, but let's get back to that, to enjoying each other and each other's company and being together in restaurants and maybe the theater for an hour or two here and there, or a film, or restaurants, or on the beach, sailing, running, being out. I mean, when this whole thing started, we had 2 cars. Now we don't have any cars. I have my motorbike. I ride it maybe once or twice a week. We need the Oneg, the delight, to come from the Nega, the plague, the Nega, Nega, the negative. Electricity flows from negative to positive. We need to come out of the dark Egypt and get to the light Israel. It's in my book. The Torah is an enlightenment toolkit. It's about personal self-esteem. My next book is called A User Manual for Life on Earth. It explains how we can all retire when we're 35. And my last book is a summary of my second book called Ramblings of an Alien, and how to meet the aliens. Elon Musk wants to do it by going on a ship. I want to do it by using my mind. There's so much goodness on this planet. There's so much light. There's so much possibility. So much opportunity. If only we would share and listen and be adult with each other and take opposing views and debate them instead of saying, oh, that's a conspiracy theory. I research everything that I can. If I read something that I don't understand or like, I check up on fact-checking websites. I speak to my friends. I go and try and read source documents, including the 50 or 56-page report from Pfizer that's submitted to the FDA so that I could understand about their drug to fight COVID and get a more meaningful insight. And if I don't understand something, I've got Google and I've got translators and I've got so much access to so much on my cell phone. So let's find the benefits. Let's talk about all the incredible stuff that's happening on our planet. Animals, the birds, the sea, nature, the environment. And then put ourselves in a mutually interdependent place where we don't abuse and outsource costs onto the environment, but we love our environment, we love our trees, we love our water, we love our food, we love our bodies, we love our friends, we love our minds, we love debate. Over and out. See you soon.